My team and I generate thousands of leads every single week using Performance Max campaigns and Google Ads, and I'm going to show you how to set it up really quickly, and I'm going to go through some example accounts just to give you an idea on how to structure your asset groups so you're generating quality leads coming through. To get started, it's very simple. All you need to do is go to your Google Ads account, click on the blue plus button here, click New Campaign, click on Leads because that's your goal. Make sure you clean up any of the lead goals that aren't correct, and then click Continue, and then click on Performance Max campaign. And then from here, what is the URL that you want to advertise? Well, if you're a cosmetic clinic, for example, and you do many different treatments and services, or in this case, they do dental and cosmetics and stuff, you probably likely want a different Performance Max for teeth whitening, a different Performance Max campaign for Invisalign, and just separate them all. But to begin with, I recommend this to everyone to create a catch-all one for all services straight away, because it's unlikely you're going to create all these Performance Max campaigns right away. It takes time. You would just put in the full website, and then you would turn the full URL expansion on so that the Performance Max is smart enough to understand which URL to serve to the right person based on what they're searching automatically with AI. Okay, so the next step from here, I usually name it like this. So if I am targeting like Sydney or Melbourne, I might do Mel for Melbourne, and then I might do all services because it's in all services. If it was Invisalign, I'd say Invisalign. I'd do PMax all services, sorry. So something like that. So it's very, very obvious to anyone managing the account of what this does and what it advertises. So the next step here, you click Continue. And then from here, the bidding strategy, just select and maximize conversions because it's very unlikely as a business to keep the conversion value up to date every single day, unless you've got what converts, which solves that problem. And then from here, don't set a target acquisition cost or target cost per action. Don't do that yet. Don't bid for new customers, just go next. And then from here, you just enter the location. So we might do Melbourne for short. Let's go that one. And then with the language, of course, do the main language that you're targeting audiences to. And then from here, we don't do political ads. That's fine. Go to more settings here. Do we want to schedule it all day? Likely not. Maybe the clinic is only open from 9 a.m. till like 5 p.m. or something like that. And customers might shop later in the evening just to, browse. And you might cut it off at like 1900, which is 7 p.m., right? That would fix that problem, at least that you're not serving ads 24/7 and attracting bots and spam and all that kind of stuff and scammers and hackers and stuff coming to your website from other countries overnight. At least that solves a little bit of that problem. It's not going to solve it full stop. And with regards to devices, turn off tablets, turn off TV screens, because most of the time we don't see any conversions. With the rest of it, demographics. So normally I turn on age restrictions. So your audience might not be 65 plus, they might not be 18-year-olds. So you just check the ones that are not your audience because it says unselected ages will be included. Gender, I usually leave that as is. And then for the rest of it, so the campaign URL, everything else is good. Data exclusions, I don't need to do that unless you've got a CRM with existing customers, and then you can start to add your own data exclusions, which is pretty cool. And then as you're naming the actual asset group, usually this is the audience, and you won't know this name yet because at the end of this, there'll be a little audience area where you can select the audience and search themes, and based on this, you will come up with a name. So for example, if it's for someone for Invisalign and you've gone on Keyword Planner and found keywords for Invisalign near me, Invisalign, Melbourne, etc., and you fill up all 25, and now at the moment it's up to 50, so keep filling up as many details as possible. So it might be Invisalign treatment near me and stuff like that, and keep finding as many eligible keywords that are saying the same thing but aren't overlapping each other. So next step, you can add your first party data if you want, so all converters and things like that if you want to. I'm not going to do that for now. A lot of the time you want to play around with the interest and detailed demographics if you can, right? Demographics are already played with. We can see that here. You might want to change these again. You can reuse this audience across your other Performance Max. That's why it's asking you here and not the campaign level. So in this case, you might want to change this to that or something like that, right? And keep the unknown on there. That's good. With regards to the interest and demographics, normally for dentists, it's a bad industry because if you type in dentist or something like that, it doesn't really come up. There's not much there. But let's say, for example, they did tinting. It's a window tinting company. Then you're trying to find this little in market here. So let's say, for example, I sell window tinting and I install window tint on Windows, right? For residential. Then you got Windows replacement. Yeah, that's not the best one, but if I go tint, the word, and we can see window tinting. So people in market for window tinting. So you see what that means. Well, it's people typing window tinting, car window tinting, etc. Now, a lot of window tinting companies don't offer like car. They might just want to do housing and residential and commercial. But in this case, you might want to just select that one and then only select what makes sense. So maybe a homeowner, right? If it's maybe it's two words. So homeowners, detailed demographics, it's people who own the home, right? So usually you don't have renters that are getting windows installed or tinting or whatever. So you need to be as very detailed as possible, giving the algorithm hints. Not too many. I usually usually go maybe maximum of 4 on here, but usually around 2 is a sweet spot. And then I fill in the rest of the search themes here. Now, for the actual ad itself and where everything's going, try to fill out all the details as much as possible. So the business name, fill that out, fill out the, all the headlines. So it gives you up to 15 headlines, fill them all out. I have this little GPT that you can use to fill this information out. So you're creating these ads much, much faster, including the long headlines and descriptions. Fill the maximum length out. So at the moment, it's up to 5 for long headlines and 5 for descriptions, I think. And it keeps changing all the time. So keep that in mind because it's going to serve your ad across YouTube, Gmail, display, search campaigns, and it's going to try to do a dollar cost averaging where basically it'll try to enter the next cheapest auction where it thinks it's going to win the auction. That's how Performance Max kind of works. As you scroll down with images, make sure it's as relatable to the service that you're selling. In this case, if we're doing like Invisalign, then make sure you've only got images related to Invisalign and videos only related to Invisalign and site links only related to adjacent services close to Invisalign and adding social proof in here and stuff like that. And I've already got tutorials on this on my channel, so go check out how to write the ad copy. I've already got in-depth guides and masterclasses on how to do that. So I'm going to skip this for now. With the asset optimization, you want to turn on most of the time the final URL, but if you've already got multiple Performance Max campaigns, then in this case, usually you want to turn this one off so that you're only sending people to the relevant URL that you're going for. So if it was going to the Invisalign one, then you have to send them to the Invisalign page so that your asset groups are not overlapping each other. It's kind of how search campaigns work in a way. Okay, so that's good. And then for the rest of it, so images, you could probably leave them enhanced if you want. If you have curated your own images, then you probably just want to like turn these ones off because you might have your own custom images that you've hired a graphic designer to do. Now, once you've got all that sorted, you've got most of your search themes filled out here, you've got your audiences and stuff like that. You can actually optionally create an audience name. So for example, let's say for argument's sake, it was for window tinting. So it was something like that. So it's in market window tinting. And then I copy that and I go back up to the top and then I name the actual asset group that as well. So I know exactly what this asset group is for and who's it targeting. So I can quickly understand the performance. Keep going next and you add your budget and do all the usual stuff. I'm not going to go through that today. So I'll just give you a quick idea on how other campaigns might be set up. So this one here is for a catch-all campaign for a cosmetic clinic, and they've got like in-market segments for multiple things. So they've got one audience and asset group for their organic search users over the next 90 days. People who are just married, right? They've had a massive life event and they're just doing different asset groups to try different things to see what the cost per conversion will be so that it can lower it over time. So you know which ones are more expensive versus which ones are a bit more affordable, etc. This one over here is actually window tinting. So we can see like people in market for privacy windows, we're starting to get conversions here. This is a brand new campaign. And then you've got people life events who are going through home renovations right now. So we want to see whether or not that kind of signal is going to bring in more traffic coming through. All the images and assets and all that are related to window tinting and innovation, etc. All of these ones are to do with privacy with Windows, the images and videos and stuff like that. And all the ad copy has to change for every single asset group. And that's kind of how it works, right? So I recommend creating about 4 to 5 asset groups per Performance Max campaign that you create so that you're giving it enough juice and enough kind of signals per asset group so that you're trying to attract more qualified leads coming through. So if you've got any questions, let me know, and excited to see how this goes for you. See you in the next one.